Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pull Up Tray podcast, a winning podcast right now after the Raptors, in a nail biter, 107 to 106, defeat the Orlando Magic. This is just one night after they defeated the Golden State Warriors in overtime. They've had some close games lately, about as close as you can get. They are very good in clutch time. I think they're now 11-5. It's a lot of winning when the games are close, despite the clutch time offense not being very strong. There's a lot of things we have to talk about. I think first and foremost, we will talk about the team overall. Then we got to
Mhm.
talk about Scottie Barnes, all-star stuff. Then I think we probably got to make some room to talk about two really important defenders lately who have been giving lots on
Oof.
offense, Jamal Shead and Jacoby Walter. I kind of want to start there. We
Yeah.
saw Immanuel Quickley. This is the guard. I went to they signed he and Scottie at the same time, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two big extensions. And they talked about how like this is the future. Masai's on the phone on open gym after the call. Like pairing these two together is incredible. Well, the Raptors are in a playoff chase for the rest of the season, whatever seed they're trying to get to. And Trey, that pulls up. This is terrible
Yeah.
introduction.
No, it's all good. It's end of year pod, bro.
Immanuel Quickley gets benched in order to pursue a win.
Yes.
How you doing? And thoughts on Darko having that cojones to pull that one off?
It every time during this season when it looks like the boat's been rocking, that man has made the tough decision. Beginning of the season, let's scrap the whole defense. Let's adjust things. And like the last two games, you clearly see like the identity and how they want to play. They want to inject tons of pace. They want to pressure the ball. They want to double and create as many turnovers so that they can run. And I think the issue with Quickly is he's a very methodical player that doesn't put up threes in the way that you would want. And a lot of that comes like through transition or sometimes through scripted action, and that oftentimes slows down the pace of the overall team. There isn't direct line of pressure towards the rim, and defensively, bless everyone in New York that told me he was an absolute dog. Like it just hasn't happened. But Jamal Shead, he does all of that. He's for better or worse, he's darting down to the rim every single time, injecting tons of pace into the offense, which creates much easier looks. It gets guys involved in interior passes like CMB, for example. And defensively, he gets after it in a way that Immanuel Quickley just isn't going to. And oftentimes, especially in the last two games, you see the Raptors go on runs simply because of the amount of pressure that they're putting on ball handlers. I think they know their identity in the last couple of games. Darko has shown who he trusts when he's trying to pursue a win. And I can't believe Jamal Shead is in that group, but he is doing the thing.
He's been in there with regularity for
Yes.
some time now, and it's easy to see why. The big thing, I don't he's plus 34 in the Warriors game. Absurd.
Yeah.
He's plus 13 in this win against the Magic. The thing that makes him have these outsized performances against these two teams is the unique you need that pressure on Steph Curry. They want to walk him up the court.
Yep.
They want to move the ball out of his hands, and they want to work from there so that they can zone up and play like box and one or triangle and two. And
Yep.
so that early pressure is extremely important. So quickly, his shot making is paramount to the Raptors' success in that comeback against the Warriors, but they need Shed on the floor. CMB didn't play in that game. That's who Shed is in for quickly. CMB's in for whoever, Ochai, let's say, this game.
Yeah.
And in this game, you want to move the ball into, honestly, Paolo's hands because no team is making a lot of shots. Paolo, like, yes, he finishes with 23, 15, and 10, but I don't think he was a very strong offensive organizer. And so having Shed out there a lot of the times to pressure the ball early and get the ball out of Anthony Black's hands, for example, to get the ball out of a Desmond Bane's hands, Jace
Mhm.
Richardson, it just anytime you have a wing initiating offense is going to be slower. This is
Yep.
something observed through the numbers, like Second Spectrum tracks this stuff. So having Shed out there these past two games has been a huge boon to how the Raptors want to defend. I don't think this approach will work every single time. And there's
Agreed.
going to be some games Jamal is not like impervious to matchups, but these past 2 games, he has blown the hell up and been so important. And obviously, he set a career high in points in this past game. 19 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 of 15 shooting, 1 turnover only, and his ball pressure, as you said, absolutely imperative. Even further though, Immanuel Quickley, how do you feel? Because his shot making is obviously like the Raptors won a game where
Yeah.
the scoring is very low, and if Immanuel Quickley doesn't shoot 2 of 12, then maybe they're a lot more comfortable playing him and looking at it. How do you feel about your lead point guard being dependent on shot making rather than like the overall holistic approach?
It it kind of shows the lack of development that's kind of happened over this period of time since he's been a Raptor. A lot of a lot of how his games goes, like you said, is towards his shot making, and a lot of his playmaking comes through scripted actions, him Darko getting him downhill, usually someone cutting baseline. Those are very deliberate actions, and the Raptors run a lot of plays that get guys curling off to the rim that gives you easy assists, easy passes, as you like to say, fake assists. And right now, I think I'm struggling to see overall impact outside of the threes. He hit some big shots against the Warriors. I will
Yep.
give him tons of credit. And there's probably not another player on the roster that I would trust more to shoot a big three at the end of the game. But I think he's shown in his tenure that he is the same player that he was as a Knick, who's better served being this off ball, change of pace, quick spark type of player. And being the lead guard of a team, you need to be able to add tempo or play towards your team's strengths and be able to pressure the rim and play make and make things easier. I think the biggest thing that we've seen with his minutes is that he doesn't make it easier for the role players on the floor, whether you're a corner shooter like Jacoby or Ochai, whether you're a guy that is a play finisher like CMB, for example. At the bare minimum, Jamal Shead is going to be his man going downhill, and someone is going to get an easy shot if the rotation happens. And that hasn't happened with Quick, which is disappointing because they obviously spent a lot of money on his deal, and that's not his fault, obviously. But I'm fairly certain we're at a point where we need to be looking for a different point guard.
On top of that, too, the great run that he was playing more so off ball. It
Yep.
was relocation threes. You know, if you get to push pace, sure. He did a great job down the stretch of that Warriors game, though, rejecting screens. They really bumped out their pressure, and they were playing so aggressive on the screener that he got to just reject and go downhill a bunch. And that's why, I mean, I don't remember how many free throws he took in the Warriors game, but he took a lot. And so I credit him with an adaptable approach in that game. But I am left wanting, I think, pretty consistently of him not being so adaptable, especially since he has a lot of talent. There's a
Yeah.
lot of talent there. There's a lot of stuff there that makes, an NBA guard go. A really great example is like he's not a great finisher at the rim. I'm not going to sit here and say that Jamal Shead is either, but Jamal
Yeah.
Shead is able to maneuver his shortcomings a little bit more effectively without the significant strength of, I think, elite pull up shooting that Immanuel Quickley has. And Jamal, I guess we'll talk about Jamal's defense a little bit later because I think there's like a declaration I have to make about Jamal Shead. Um, Scottie obviously had a historic Raptors game against the Warriors. He's the first 2020 triple double in Raptors franchise history. 25 rebounds. It's that takes like Jaren Jackson Jr. like 17 games to get to get that many. And I know Scottie didn't have the best offensive game against the Magic, a team that really wants to pack the paint, limit
Yeah.
scoring in the paint, and has length to throw at guys. I'll also say it's worth mentioning they didn't have Suggs, they didn't have Franz. That's meaningful. The Raptors didn't
Of
have
course.
RJ, they didn't have Jakob. That's meaningful, but in my opinion, less meaningful. Franz is really good. Suggs is really good, but I'm not sticking my nose up at it. The Raptors have to win a bunch of games in this sequence of games, otherwise they're in trouble, and they did. Scottie finishes. He goes from putting up 23, 25, and 10. This game he has 13, 11, and 2. I think the defense has been tremendous lately.
Yep.
Like, we know how he's played. He didn't make the top 20 in the return of the All-Star voting. Now, I just wanna hear what you think, and then we'll get into the context of it all.
It's one of, in terms of a regular season game, it's one of the best performances in Raptor history against a team like that. They have legendary players, multiple players that are going into the Hall of Fame, and simply refusing to lose and showing that much effort. I think one of the cool things and also frustrating things about Scottie Barnes is that he can affect a game and be impactful in so many different ways. He can decide one day I'm going to be the best rebounder possible in the league, and you get games like that. I think what was the most special was his defense. He made up for multiple times in that game where um the the guard on the Raptors is losing Steph, and he peels back, he comes off Draymond, peels back, takes away that immediate pass, comes back on Draymond, and is able to muck up
Yep,
multiple actions, multiple plays. Even Shed loses Steph at the end of
yep.
the game. Scottie comes back, takes away that complete option. 9 times out of 10, Steph Curry is ending that game if he doesn't make that read. He's one of the, at the bare minimum, I think right now, a top 10 defender in the NBA. Like, the level of defense he's had has been so special that some of the offensive struggles and like matchups that don't fit him, like this Orlando matchup, they're a super long team, don't matter that much because you can see how the foundation of him being this super impactful playoff player is going to be like, because he can do
Mhm.
almost anything on the court at any
I'll
given
s
time.
I think there's a huge because why he was able to dominate the Warriors rebounding in such a way is, like, Scotty, you can box him out, but he's so good at high pointing the ball and rebounds.
Yeah.
He's such a quick jumper, and he has a really strong second jump that he can just compete on the glass in a way that got and his strength relative to size is massive. He can compete on the glass in a way that very few guys can against small ball lineups. And you could see he was eating in small ball lineups against the Magic today. And they didn't play small a bunch, but when they were smaller, he was finding the advantage to go and get rebounds. And CMB, while not as good at high pointing the basketball, is probably even better at just being like a bull in a china shop and rummaging his way
Mhm.
to it, keeping the ball alive. And that's why those two guys playing together is so interesting. So the podcast that Lewis and I did, Ball Don't Lie, we are doing the live version of it. And we are doing like kind of going back and forth with the chat because we are discussing Scotty's like status as an all-star or a max
Yep.
player, the number one guy thing. And my contention was that, well, it doesn't matter if he's a number one guy because this team needs like Scotty's not a finals MVP probably in most contexts. You need better players, but Scotty doesn't stop you from getting better players and he will help better players when they come in. So like who cares if he's on the max? So, but I was describing his game, his shortcomings and his strengths, and there was some sentiment that, that's I'm describing a role player, but I just can't see it that way. And then he
Mhm.
goes out, he gets 23, 25, and 10. And I was like, that's why he's not a role player. Because the upper limit, even though he is limited in some ways, it's just that uncanny ability to go out there and find impact, which is why, Trey, I'm shocked and appalled that he can't get into the top 20. I saw
It's
somebody who's clearly been watching the podcast, listening, finally paying close attention, was like, "Why do they always have shots for Josh Hart?" And I was like, "That's so true, we do." And and Josh Hart got more votes than Scotty.
insane.
I what do you so the fan vote does matter to some degree because it's a cumulative tally, I
Yep.
think, of actually no, because it's cumulative for the starters and then coaches are selecting.
Yeah, you're
Scotty
right.
Scotty is going to be an all-star. I'm quite certain the coaches will put him in. I think he'll be in and I think Brandon won't. But are you shocked at all that he couldn't make the top 20?
I'm surprised. I'm not shocked that Brandon Ingram like had more votes. I think he's a more popular player. I think as fans, you're more dictated. I think in the general sense, like whoever is the leading scorer is the most impactful player on the team. And if you aren't watching the Raptors on on an everyday basis, you're not saying why is this guy averaging 19 points, the guy that they want to build around. It's hard to contextualize defense. It's hard to contextualize rim deterrence. Is that just like stuff you don't see on the box score? Was like nerds like us talk about, but
They didn't put stocks on the NBA ballot.
no, like they're just not seeing that he's having one of the best defensive seasons a Raptor has ever had.
Yeah.
It he's the best player on the Raptors, and it's like not even a question. But the average fan just isn't going to see that, which is okay.
My question, I'm throwing the gauntlet down from Scottie FC to I don't know what Brandon Ingram fans, or I don't know what they call themselves,
Yeah,
but Scottie FC, the Ingram fans are outdoing you handsomely. Like I think
yes,
at minimum 20,000 more votes. Also, I learned contextually that the listing that an NBA does is ordered by points per game. So people who are just
yeah,
passively doing it and filling it out, it's going to lean far more towards Ingram. He came into the Raptors as a very popular player, and
mhm.
especially like Americans who are just filling out maybe the fifth guy on their ballot or something.
Yeah.
Ingram is going to get in there before Scottie a lot. But I'm pretty shocked that Canada didn't step up for their boy.
That's what I was going to ask you, because baseball, I feel like it's feels as though the Blue Jays being the only team in Canada is a major advantage. You see it every time. Like, oh, there's a couple seasons where like Vladimir Guerrero, like I didn't think he was going to be an All Star, and he got him because
It's
Canadians vote like
just
heck.
like politics, man. It's old white people voting. Yeah, like that demographic is massive turnout, but they watch a lot more baseball than they
Yeah,
do basketball, maybe. I'm
and
not sure.
yeah, you don't see the boost. Like I was trying to think about it earlier today. I was thinking like maybe the Blue Jays has have more of like a Canada's team vibe than the Raptors do, and like West Coast people are far more likely to be a Raptors fan than they are maybe a Seattle Mariners fan. But like the Dodgers are still great.
You
But
know, because the Mariners are so close to Vancouver,
yeah,
but no, like Portland, the Trailblazers, the closest thing.
yeah,
I feel like the Raptors have a better case, maybe for like the
y-
geographically wise for being Canada's team. But I guess like just baseball is just popular, man.
yeah. I just but I was assuming like anyone West Coast, I was assuming maybe they're a Lakers fan, and that's like
I
easy
mean,
for that to
we
happen.
we know a dear friend who's not even West Coast who's a Lakers fan. You know what I mean? He's a
Yeah,
fan. He's got like 7 or 8 teams. Depending on the. Um, but yeah, I was. This is my urge. Listen,
yeah,
Scottie Barnes is an all-star level player. For me, with a bullet. If anybody's listening, listen, I'm a media member. I'm not gonna go load up the ballot or whatever. But if I can urge some people, like, hey, go vote Scottie in because he is actually having one of the better Raptor seasons that we've seen in some time.
yep.
This is much better than the season he was having in year 3. And I know the numbers might not convey that like super convincingly offensively or box score wise, but he right now is like a great deal better as a player than he was in year 3 when he was an all-star. On top of all that, I want to talk about Jacoby Walter. So he comes off a game where he shoots 2 of 6, 1 of 4 from downtown, but he gets to the line for 6 free throw attempts. Oh man, the Warriors game, and these are like the very surface level numbers
Hmm.
because a lot of what he's doing is beyond that. Against the Warriors, he has 18 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 of 10 shooting. His true shooting percentage is 59%. The big thing here is that Jacoby, we were making a joke. It's like, could you imagine if Grady had 18 points and gave you like a good defensive game like
Yeah,
Jacoby does? Like Jacoby has just been far and away so much better than Grady this season.
yeah.
And Jacoby really deserves the elevation in the depth chart that he's been seeing. His defense is a lot better, I think, than what is being conveyed normally. He's been very gritty and he's been really good at limiting blow-bys. He's been very sticky. He's gotten tons of deflections. Where are you on the young Jacoby Walter?
He he has been amazing for his second season. Be a guy again like who Darko trusts in big moments to be the point of attack defender. He's improved a lot on screens. He's very physical at the point of attack, and they create tons of turnovers, tons of stocks because he's not giving up an easy blow by. Allows guys like CMB and both Scottie are able to cover tons of ground. You see Orlando can't score simply because those two cranes are coming over and mucking stuff up. Anthony Black finally slows down because they have everything hammered. And amazing game by him. I can't believe he's improved as much as he has. But nonetheless, Jacoby has like gotten to a point. I was discussing this with our friends this morning. We're like, could he be like Raja Bell, where just like your trusted guy that who's your point of attack defender for 5 or 6 years that hits threes at a really high clip? His game may be simple, and ideally next season you want some of the in between stuff to show. But he's carved out a role where he can be a rotational player and possibly a fifth starter. And like at number 19 as a pick, you're totally happy with that. And he's done everything possible to make sure that he's a fixture on this team and someone that you want in your rotation for years to come. So like a type season from him.
He's been great. And when I was giving guys the quarter season grades, I think I gave Jacoby an A, and maybe he was slumping a little bit going into that, but the consensus was that people thought that was too high. But I was like, oh man, I think he's been, because I really rate his we really rate his defense. Yeah. If the rest of his game is quiet, I'll still be watching him, affect the game, at least in my mind. Which is why it's interesting, like the on-off stats. Jamal, he wins a lot of minutes this year. Jameson wins a lot of minutes this year. Grady wins a lot of minutes this year. And Jacoby per minute is like the ultimate minutes loser on this team.
Yeah.
But it just sometimes it's like, I don't know how to quantify that, because on-offs I like on-offs as a tool to try and direct you towards something. It's like, why does the team shoot more at the rim? Why is the team creating more turnovers? Like when Jacoby's on the floor, that you see a boost in turnovers. When Grady's on the floor, you see a boost in turnovers. Why with Grady? Because there's a lot more off-ball or on-ball switching, which creates more open lanes to drivers, but it also creates more indecision as passers. It's aggressive. Jacoby, it's like, I think, connected to deflections. Obviously, CMB has a correlation with it too. I think it's connected to deflections as well. It's just like to search that way. And I couldn't possibly explain why the Raptors lose so many minutes with Jacoby. Looking for an answer there, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. When on-offs, usually they're a pretty good indicator of things. I mean, Jacoby, he deserves a lot of love for it. Yeah. Before we discuss the other guy who I feel as though the defense is like went from a bad place to a good place, let me tell you something. Trey, basketball, that daggum thing, that sport, it can be stressful. But your choice of beer, it doesn't have to be. Coors Light delivers mountain cold refreshment. I'm from Saskatchewan. I know cold. I remember it was Christmas Eve in the mid 2010s. I'm doing snow removal, and it was minus 50. But nothing hits like that Coors Light cold, Trevon. I'm telling you. Coors Light is cold lagered. It's cold filtered and cold certified for a smoother finish. When the mountain turns blue, the beer is as cold and refreshing as the Rockies. Celebrate responsibly. And of course, you must be of legal drinking age to imbibe that sweet, sweet Coors Light. You can find Coors Light near you. You can visit CoorsLightShop.ca. Okay. Jamal Shead was a guy who had a lot of blow-bys. He was a guy who gambled a lot. He was a guy who was affected in the passing lanes because of his relative lack of size. He was a guy whose relative lack of size hurt him defensively. All the numbers said that last year. I thought the film said that as well. He paid for a lot of gambles. This year, though, and despite it wasn't incredible to start, especially the last like maybe 5 games, his defense has been extremely good. This is, I think, closer to what everybody saw in Houston under Kelvin Sampson. Yeah. What have you made of? You've nicknamed him Mr. Fourth Quarter. You got a lot of nicknames for Jamal. I'll let you take it away.
He's been tremendous. Like from the beginning of the season, he's shown that there's been real improvement on both ends of the court. And like he's still like a fairly flawed player in some of the stuff that you want to see overall from a backup guard, but he fits the identity of what this team wants to be. And there, I've always hated the proverbial like, Boston when they said Marcus Smart, he's the heartbeat of this franchise. We can't ever be without him, stuff like that. But like Jamal Shead is like you saw it in summer league. He is that type of guy. He gets after it defensively. He's the guy that is getting the other guys hyped up on defense, and you see all those runs usually start a combination of both him and Jacoby or Scottie creating tons of turnovers, and his defense at the point of attack has been tremendous. He fights over screens and gets a lot of offensive fouls just because he refuses to be denied and is tenacious in doing so. And this is like what you saw in Houston. I think the biggest thing from him has been fouling less. I think especially as a rookie, having this like humongous reputation in college, being the best defender pound for pound in college basketball, you get leeway to be physical. You're also playing younger guys. You get to beat up on them. That hasn't been in the case in the NBA, and there's been some adjustment in between, but you're seeing that now, especially in the Warriors game, where they're creating tons of
Yep.
turnovers. He's able to get by screens. He forces a foul on Stephen Curry at the end of a game, which has been tremendous. Like, although there's like warts in his game, like you see why they've invested in him and why they continue to give him minutes, even when sometimes it doesn't seem like he has it that night, because at any moment he's able to spark this team with a run because of just how tenacious he plays, like from beginning to end of every game.
He's the greatest 36% shooter of all time. Like
Yeah,
the
every
cra-
shot's big.
it's it's crazy how much he's accomplishing in the in between, because as a guy who spent so much time on ball, the fact that he's shooting 36% from the field, he's like 33% from downtown. His true shooting percentage is abysmal. It is really hard to survive in the NBA with this level of inefficiency. And he's able to do it because his defense has really turned the corner into something real,
Yeah.
and his timing as an organizer, as a pace pusher, he's been really really strong in all of the in between in ways that create such a unique and stark contrast between he and Immanuel Quickley, because Immanuel Quickley is, efficient. He is
Mhm.
assist to turnover. He's conservative. So there's two big things. He hits threes. He doesn't turn the ball over. For a point guard, you think like in the looking at the stats, good. That's what we want. And Jamal Shead is like, I don't do any of the markers. I have zero of them. If you're trying to find the stats that say I'm going to be good and have an effect on the offense, you can't find a lick of anything. And yet he does, because he's doing all of those unspoken point guardy things that Immanuel Quickley doesn't. And so the Raptors have this giant contrast between their two guards. And the reason why they play them together is because they paper over each other's weaknesses.
Yep.
And obviously, in this past game, they don't play them together. They play them apart. And Immanuel Quickley, despite being paid as the guy in the backcourt for this team, because they didn't pay RJ, they got that contract in the trade, but they paid IQ. It was him sitting on the bench as the Raptors came back to win. And Shed was part and parcel of everything good that happened for the Raptors down the stretch. Good on him, man.
Yeah.
He and like last year, it was clear, at least to us. I was like, oh yeah, Davion Mitchell is turning the corner. He's good for a lot of the reasons that Jamal Shead is good. Actually, he's very unselfish. He does a lot of the point guardy stuff. But the decision to move on from Davion Mitchell and get some second round picks, and to, you didn't have to pay him. And Jamal Shead
Yeah.
makes nothing. He got the elevated second rounder contract, but the Raptors are in a very nice spot with him as a guard. Just
Yep.
see how it grows into the future. He deserves a big old tip of the cap for what he's been able to provide. One more guy I want to talk about, Colin Murray Boyles. Big boy.
Yes.
Also not efficient. 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from the free throw line, but comes back from, I mean, you and I were saying like that the Toronto winter's been fucking him up, dude.
That's a fact. Oh man.
It's put him in a tough spot. He's been sick twice this year, I
Yeah.
think, and the level of sick to be missing like a handful of games, like, dude, he's gotta be going through it. He comes
Yeah.
back early. He says, I'm gonna fight and die for this rebound, okay? You know? What are you made of Colin Murray Boyles stepping back into the lineup?
He's unique in the same sense that Scottie is. I think in the first half he kind of looked a bit slow footed. He gave a few drives middle to Paulo Banchero, but he allows, like, as soon as they gave up the Mo Bamba experiment for about 5 minutes. But bless his heart.
That is my favorite first possession ever. It's just
I will. Before that, I'm like, we gotta get Mo in. Bataze's gotten three or four boards. We gotta see something, and then just I'm like, all right. Couldn't get a rebound, but like it's fine. It's fine. But CMB, his physicality like has been the number one thing that translates so much. He gives, if a big doesn't want to play big boy ball, like he's gonna give you hell because
Mhm.
he's super strong. He has tons of size, and like he's a fucker on the glass. Like he is tenacious going towards the glass. So like even when some of the finishing isn't translating, like he's creating multiple possessions. He's able to guard. He's able to switch out and guard, cover ground. He's able to be a rim protector. He had a humongous block down the stretch. Like you're seeing everything that comes with being a winning player. And like he finally drove today. He great drive on
Oh, we are close to
Wendell.
greatness.
He he throws him out of the way. I'm like, we're gonna get a dunk, we're gonna get a lay, and misses. But like you're seeing some of that's all of the things that you want to see from a potential starter or even just a high impact player because the spot up shooting has so far been like check A plus. You want to be able to see if he can start pulling the ball down the floor so he can show off the amazing playmaker I know he is and be able to have some of that finishing translating. But like he's doing all the hard stuff like at a tremendous level for a rookie, which is all you really can ask from him.
The big thing is that if the Raptors are ever like really in the running for contention, and if they're gonna be, it'll be like CMB will probably be on the team
Yeah.
because he's a rookie, and he passes out of the middle and he collapses the middle a lot of times, and just the Raptors do not shoot well on his passes despite having pretty good looks. And so it's the one thing is like he has a clear limitation to like finish amongst the big boys from a standstill. And
Mhm.
so he makes passes from under the rim that create a lot of open threes. And once he's on a team or once the team around him shoots better, that's going to be seen as more of an advantage. And then also, if there's a little bit more spacing, his finishing should improve. And I brought this up when we were talking about it. His driving, he's like one of the highest percentiles in terms of getting to the rim when he drives. The Raptors are just shooting like 8% from three when he passes out of drives. He's collapsing it. There's just a bit of small sample size theater going on here. And it's that comfortability because part of like CMB, and this is like the Grady thing with shooting. And listen, Grady had a good shooting game. He had a good cutting
Yeah.
game. It needs to be a lot more before we start talking about it, like as if it
Yeah.
has meaning. CM, but like Grady showed an incredible amount of shot making as a prospect and hasn't met that as an NBA player. CMB showed an incredible amount of driving as a prospect.
Mhm.
And we're like for him, what, 24 games into his
Yeah.
career? You see the flashes. He should, when he's like year 3, year 4, be really difficult to handle as a driver for bigs. He should be able to drive bigs like really comfortably. He should be able to score and play make out of it. And we're just not getting a ton of it early on. But you can see, just don't leave it on the rim. Put it in the bucket next time. There's a lot to like with CMB and the impact. He's doing his thing. He's finding a
Yeah.
way.
I think when you think of the future of this team, the best version of them is the one where Scottie Barnes and CMB can both play together and play big minutes. Because you just saw that stretch where they scored what 6 points in 9 minutes. When you have two guys that can virtually guard everyone on the floor and also play up towards their size, it is such a huge problem for defense. Anthony Black again looks like the second coming for 3 quarters. And you put in a lineup where you have a guy that can defend at the point of attack, two monsters at the back end that can cover tons of ground. It creates so much problems. CMB figuring out how to stay on the floor offensively is one of the biggest keys for the Raptors taking the next step of being like a team you truly consider as a contender.
Yeah. And I think what's he's shooting 45% from downtown, a little bit higher than that. The free throw shooting has been a little bit worse than I would have expected personally, but the rim touch, like he's leaving some stuff on the rim, but he's been very efficient. You know, his true shooting is pretty high. It's because he's taking more so like the bigs type of shots.
Yeah.
He'll reach that next level of who he's supposed to be when he starts taking shots that are more akin to like wings and forwards. And you just got to cross your fingers that that comes around. Also, a quick spotlight on Ochai. I still think his defense is overrated, but I think his cutting has been like awesome the last few games. As listen, shooting 18% from three, it's not going to get anybody anywhere. That's really tough, man. That's
Not gonna get it done.
It's not going to get it done. But his offensive rebounding has been sneaky. His cutting has been sneaky, and there's actually been a couple drives here and there. He and Grady taking turns being athletic slashing wings when all we're saying is like, please make some jumpers. Any other thoughts on Ochai?
Man, I, I, I think we're at a point in the season where you start trying to make marginal moves to help get through the season and make minutes. If the Raptors are going when this Bamba experiment ends in a week, they're gonna have to make some sort of move to get another big in the rotation. You can't have Jacoby Walter trying to box out Gogo Batase. And I think that just happens to be I've seen enough minutes to realize Ochai's the odd man out, and maneuvering how to get a big with his contract or deal, I think is like super vital.
I think what fans are doing, a lot of fans are trying to find the next point guard. So quickly is being thrown in a lot of hypothetical
Yeah.
trades. And fans are also very quickly being like, okay, if we're making a move on the margins, it's Grady and Ochai, and then there's draft capital on one side or the other side, depending on if you're adding or shedding salary. Like
Yeah.
if you're adding for a playoff run, then it would be like Grady, Ochai plus something.
Yeah.
If you're shedding, then maybe you're trying to get a second rounder from another team. And like Mo Bamba, God bless him. I don't think he's the answer. I think
No.
also it's pretty interesting that like yes, he signed a quote unquote 1 year deal, but I don't know if there's like a guarantee date that is coming up, and it's probably when Jakob's going to be back. So we'll see if he's actually like if Mo Bamba was on this team for a year, I'm pretty shocked personally. Like I would be like, whoa.
Yeah. Like the season would have had to have gone terribly. Or he shot like 50% from three for like 2 months.
Even then, I don't know if he has the volume to justify it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
CMB is shooting 45%, and hell yeah, well done for that.
Mhm.
But it's still kind of just like a bit thing. Like, you know, he's
Yeah.
hitting a couple shots. I didn't watch S's. I saw he had a short. He's like, if the Raptors had Mo Bamba, I don't know if he was pro or like against, or I don't know if he was gassing it. I got to watch that after we get away from here so that we can make a joke for the next podcast. But if anybody wants more info on Mobamba than we are giving here through Chuckles, S has work regarding it. Anything else interesting about the Raptors for you?
I just think this two stretch run is another sign to just take it easy and just enjoy the ride. They stole 2 games where everyone thought they were going to lose. Like this team clearly plays hard. They clearly come with effort, and I feel like we can relax and calmly say like this is a quality team and be
Also,
okay.
Jokic is probably out for this next game.
Yeah, he will be.
He's probably out for this next game. And the Nuggets, obviously, they're a great team, but without Jokic, that might like JV. I don't know what happens. Is JV playing? Is he injured right now? Anyway, there's an opportunity for the Raptors to win, and then two against the Hawks. Like after losing to the Wizards and the Nets, like you lose to the Celtics and we're like, all right, they'll probably lose to the Celtics, whatever. And the Celtics had a bunch of people like, oh man, that game killed me, dude. Anyway, they lose to the Celtics, they lose to the Nets, they lose to the Wizards. 3 out of 4 games, they beat the Heat. You're like, oh man, are we seeing something nasty here? Then they win against the Warriors.
Yeah.
Then they win against the Magic. Then Jokic isn't there for the Nuggets game. Then it's the Hawks, and the Hawks, I mean, come on. There's room for a run that, listen, we saw the run at the start of the year, and we did not accept, but we entertained the idea that the Raptors are perhaps as good as the numbers suggested.
Yeah.
But we never really landed there fully. This, I think, would be another fool's gold run where the schedule might say contender, and I would still feel like, yeah, it's probably 45 to 48 wins at the end of it, but glad to pile them on right now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't think they're in a place where they're a contender. I think that's their expectation anyways. They made a trade to punch up and see what they had, and they've shown that there's talent on this roster. I think next year is where you're looking at what is the move that takes you to this next level where you're thinking, can we make the Eastern Conference Finals? And just similar to what I've been saying, most people think that's a point guard trade, but at this point, I think it's you make maybe one move on the margin that doesn't affect any picks or any of your future, and you just see how these guys play in a playoff series. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I think the most likely scenario is they make a trade to get under the tax so that they don't have to worry about any of the cap penalties as they try and build, because they're not like with a bunch of room or a bunch of like really desirable contracts. So they need wiggle room for the mid-level exception, stuff like that. And the most important thing is obviously seeing Scottie Barnes in a playoff series, RJ, Quickley, Ingram. But if they break off like a really big chunk of wins, I tell you what, it doesn't make me not want them to make an upgrade at point guard, but I'd much rather be talking about how good the Raptors are and still be looking to make an upgrade at point guard than seeing them in a free fall and saying, we need to fix the point guard position. How do we fix the point guard position? You know what I mean? It's just a more comfortable spot to be in.
I haven't watched a single game of college basketball this season. Thank God. Oh, in April, I just call up our dear friend Josh, and we'll be ready to go. So
we got to spend more time talking to Mac, because we watch a lot of that college basketball, but the Keyonte George Grady thing, maybe it's not our forte. Mac tried to put us on, man. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness. An L, a big L. Don't listen to us.
The funny thing is, I knew it was so real because I saw Sam Vecini was like, here's my 50-minute breakdown of Keyonte George. I fell to my knees. I said, oh, brother.
Oh, it's real.
We're finished. Keyonte has just getting downhill. And it went from being like, this guy shoots 39% every game. I don't know how he manages it. Well, he doesn't anymore. He's just fucking killing it. So congrats to Keyonte. Mac, he was telling us, like, I watched him when he was 17 with Team USA 3-on-3. He just seemed like a dog. And I was like, okay, Mac, like, hell yeah, dude. He seems like a dog right now. Fun to see him play with Laurie as well. Anything else? Just as a final thing, the Raptors 20-14, comfortably in the 4th seed. Detroit number 1, New York number 2, Boston number 3. Those Celtics fans are coming for me, man. I was like, I think they'll be in the play-in. Oh, brother.
Oh, yeah. Jaylen Brown, man. Maybe it's just like public humiliation is just like makes some people stronger. As soon as his hairline wiped off, he jumped to a level I've never seen him play in his life.
and they started making jokes about it. Dude, when he said, like, you have greatness on you, about the hairline rubbing off, oh my days. I was like, yeah, he's there. But he'd be even more powerful if he just went bald. You know what I mean?
Greatness is attached to baldness when it comes to basketball, so I don't mind it at all. But last thought from me, Happy New Year's to everyone. 2025 has been a great year for both this pod and the Raptors in general, and more big things to come in 2026. We will get our first playoff pod next year, which is amazing. All these years we've done this, we've never done a playoff pod.
They got to send us on the road, man. That's what's got to
Yeah.
happen. We need to be on location. We're in what's Detroit's stadium called?
Little Caesars Arena.
We're in Little Caesars Arena. The Raptors just upset game 1. That's what I need, man. That's what I need.
That's special.
That would be something. And we could go to what's the gas station, or not, like the gas station type pizza you told me and Josh to get?
Oh, Jet Pizza.
Jet Pizza. Pretty good. Jets. All right. Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for tuning in with us. You can make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hype, all that good stuff. We'll be back with New Year's resolutions for the team next pod. It's getting a little, what do we want to see improve? What would be nice? Get a little hopeful. Anyway, from myself and Trey, thank you for tuning in. Whether you got into this in the morning or at night, have a blessed day and goodbye.